Hi there, Algebra 1. We're here to have the last new material lesson of the year. So this is section 10.5, day 2, and we're going to talk some more about graphs of radical functions and shifting from the parent function y equals the square root of x. So as a reminder from Tuesday, the parent radical function y equals the square root of x has the domain of 0 to infinity and the range of 0 to infinity. And the reason for that is because if you see where x is, it's underneath the radical. You cannot take the square root of anything less than 0. So we start with 0 and move bigger from there. In addition, for the range, if we're looking at what y is the square root of a number. We only look at the positive square root. So it would have to start from 0 and again move up from there. The difference will happen when more numbers are part of the function. So whether there are numbers inside the radical or outside of the radical, that will impact the domain and range depending on where the numbers are. So let's go ahead and take a look at this example number 1. Graph A is y equals the square root of x minus 6 plus 3. We have two numbers involved there, and that means we're going to have two different shifts. The 6 is underneath the radical. If we take x minus 6, just as a reminder, we're going to take that and we're going to say, well, that better be greater than or equal to 0. So if it's greater than or equal to 0, to solve for what x must be, we would have to add 6 on both sides. That gives us x is greater than or equal to 6. So starting number, the very smallest number x can ever be is 6. That means that that's where the domain will begin, at 6 and go up from there. It also means that if x is greater than or equal to 6, we have moved over from a starting point of 0, 0 to a starting point where x equals 6. So it is shifted 6 units to the right. In addition, we have a plus 3 at the end. That plus 3 is saying, well, however small y might have been at some point, now we have to add 3 to it to get to our starting point. If we go back to where our original range was, that was a y of 0. So if we add 3 to it, that means now our y is smallest when it's 3. That means our range is going to begin at 3 and always go bigger from there. And also the plus 3 means because we have moved up 3 units to a positive 3 on the y-axis, or as a y variable, then we would say that we are going up 3. And technically, it's not right on that y-axis because we also moved over 6. So we're over at 6 for the x and 3 for the y. So you could even say, if you wanted to think about it like this, that the starting point is at x equals 6, y equals 3, and go from there. All right, based on that, go ahead and take a moment and see if you can figure out the shifts for graph B and the domain and the range, and then I'll be back in just a moment. All right, hopefully you'll see the change from inside the radical. That was an x plus 2. If we say that that must be greater than or equal to 0, when we solve, we'll get to x is greater than or equal to negative 2. At negative 2, we are left 2 units from the origin, and so our domain starts at negative 2 and goes up to infinity. As far as the range is concerned, look outside of the radical. There is a minus 8. So if we start with the smallest y value possible being 0, 0 minus 8 is negative 8. And that's where our range begins. So it starts at negative 8 and then it moves up to positive infinity from there. If you want to think of where the starting point is of our graph, then it would be at negative 2, negative 8, and then everything gets bigger from that point. All right, hopefully that helps. Examples 3 and 4 are virtually the same, except I am asking you what are the shifts and the starting point, like we just talked about, the domain and the range. So I will do number 3, and I'd like you to do number 4 on your own. For the shifts, the x plus 3 under the radical means that, again, if we were to take x plus 3 and set it greater than or equal to 0, we would subtract 3 from both sides, and that gives us x is greater than or equal to negative 3. So negative 3 is 3 units to the left of 0. And that also means that our starting point is going to have an x coordinate of negative 3. So our domain starts at negative 3 and goes up to positive infinity. In terms of the y, we have a negative 10 afterwards. So that means it's going to be 10 units down. So our starting point, if it's 10 units down, that would be at a negative 10 for the y value, which means that our range is going to start at negative 10 and go all the way to infinity. All right, using that logic, go ahead and try number 4 on your own, please. Okay, look at that. There's just an x under the radical. There's no plus anything. There's no minus anything in the radical. That means there was no change. It's just saying x has to be greater than or equal to 0. Well, that's what it was on the original function. So the only change that we have to this function is that the plus 12 outside means that the graph has gone up 12 units. So our starting point still has x of 0 and y of 12. Because we haven't shifted it all left or right, that means our domain is still from 0 to infinity. And our range, moving 12 units up, means that we're starting at 12, and again, just getting bigger from there, so going up to positive infinity. Hopefully that helps. We're really doing the same thing over and over again, just with slightly different wording, maybe a different structure to the question, but it's the same thing over and over. If you feel like this isn't quite helping yet, you might want to rewind the video and go back and look at an example again. But here are some more examples if you're feeling ready to continue. So let's go ahead and take a look at numbers 5 and 6. I didn't give you any prompts. I just said find the domain and range of the function. So I didn't specifically ask for the shifts here, but that all goes together. In g of x equals radical x plus 7, there is no change underneath the radical. That means that our domain is not going to change. We still go from 0 to positive infinity. Our range, on the other hand, says plus 7, so that's going to be 7 units larger than where we would normally start. That means we're going to start at 7 and go up to positive infinity. In number 6, let's do the same thing. Our domain, oh yeah, something happened in there. There are numbers under the radical, so we better start by setting that greater than or equal to 0. Notice I am looking inside the radical only. I am not paying any attention to that 2 whatsoever. Now, if I go ahead and add 9 both sides, I end up with 3x is greater than or equal to 9. Not quite done yet. Divide by 3 on both sides, and that gives us x is greater than or equal to 3. Okay, greater than or equal to 3. Well, that's 3 units to the right of x equals 0. So our domain is going to start at 3, go to positive infinity, and if we were asked for the shift would be that it is 3 units to the right. There is no number after the radical. Again, I'm ignoring the 2. I'm just looking at after the radical. It hasn't moved at all up or down, and therefore the range is not going to change. So it's still going to start at 0 and end at positive infinity. You might say, well, what about the 2? We ignored it for the domain and we ignored it for the range. Think about what happens when you have a quadratic equation. When there is a number like a 2 out in front of x squared, instead of having just a regular width, it became very narrow. Do you remember when we made our y equals x squared graph? And I know you can't see me all. I'm going to back up and see if that helps. So if this is y equals x squared, y equals 2x squared, 3x squared, 4x squared, 5x squared. That got really narrow. And likewise, if this is y equals x squared, this might be 1/2 x squared, 1/4 x squared, 1/8 x squared, and then it got really flat from there. It's the same kind of thing with radical graphs. And if you're interested in seeing more, you can definitely go ahead and plug that into your calculator or try in Desmos. We're not going to focus on it so much right now, but it is an interesting thing to see. It's the same kind of shift in terms of being, we say a stretch or a compression later on. Sometimes we talk about just whether it is narrower or wider, and that works as well. Likewise, if the number out in front of the radical were negative, instead of having a graph that goes up like this, you would go down like that. So it's the other side of a sideways parabola. And again, something interesting to look at. If you want, go ahead and play around with that in Desmos or in your calculator. But in terms of the domain and range, it doesn't make any impact whatsoever. Okay, please flip the page. In number 7, you'll see that we are graphing the radical equations that you see right there. It's asking you about the shifts. And then it's just saying, hey, take the model that you already know. The parent function y, or f of x equals the square root of x, is already graphed. And it looks like my words were cut off a little bit at the top. You should be okay with what you printed out. Or if you don't have a printer and you're copying this down, the top row says graph the following radical equations. The parent function, f of x equals the square root of x, is already graphed to help you visualize the shifts. I'm going to go ahead and write that in there just for those of you who might not have access to a printer. But then go ahead and see if you can figure out the shifts for number 7 and 8. All right, hopefully that helps having the directions written up there for those of you who couldn't see them otherwise. For number 7, it looks like we're moving 2 units to the left. There is no number outside of the radical at all, so we're just going to literally take each point and move 2 units to the left. So I'm going to take each of these 5 landmark points and go. So here is 1, then this one. This looks like it's in the middle of a box, but it's still graphable. This one, if we move it over 2 units, would be about here, and then here about 2 units. All right, do the best you can to connect the dots. It's not going to be perfect, but that's why we want you to plot the points. In case you miss, like here, this was not a perfect graph on my point, or on my part, but at least I can see what I was trying to do, and we would be able to see that too. Taking a look at that, let's see, it asked for the domain and range. Well, we only moved left. So left by 2 units, oops, sorry about that, means that we're going to start with our domain at -2, and then we're going to go to positive infinity. We didn't move up or down at all, so we're going to keep that original range of 0 to infinity. In number 8, we had 2 changes. We went 5 units right and 1 unit up. So from each point, we'll go 5 right and 1 up. Let's see what we can do there. 5 right and 1 up. 5 right in the middle of the box, and then 1 up, still in the middle of the box. 5 right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up. Ooh, I know that point. I've seen it before. And then that was a point, actually. That was a point on the original graph. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up 1. It's about there. It's not perfect, but it looks something like that. So with those 2 shifts, the 5 units right makes our domain start at 5 and go to positive infinity. The up 1 means that our range starts at 1 and goes to positive infinity. All right, we're almost there. Number 10, I'd like you to go ahead and try the same thing. Here we've got the radical x -4. The only change is outside of the radical, so that means it is a up or down change. Since it's negative, that means that we're going to go ahead and go down by 4 units. So there's this point. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's that point. In the middle of the box, 1, 2, 3, 4, about there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, this should look like the same thing. As a matter of fact, if I move my page, oh, that didn't work. Let's see if I can be clever. Oh, there we go. See, it's the same graph. Well, okay, there we go. Even better, it's the same graph. But really, it was down by 4 units. So I think that's pretty cool. It really is just a translation of 4 units. All right, we didn't move left or right. The domain is still from 0 to infinity. The range has gone down by 4 units. Down is a negative direction, so we'll go from -4 to positive infinity. That concludes 10.5, but I have a review question that I wanted to check in with you about from 10.4, because I think this is a tricky part and something that's really important for you to know. It says, please investigate the work shown below. We had x equals the square root of x plus 6. It looks like whoever worked through this squared both sides and then got one side equal to 0, which is really smart because when you have a quadratic equation, the best way to solve it is when you get one side equal to 0. And then from there, you could either factor using earmuffs or use the quadratic formula to solve. This person went into factored form because using earmuffs, 2 numbers that multiply to make -6 and add to make -1 would yield x minus 3 times x plus 2 when you factor. I didn't show the work in between with the 4 terms and everything, but if you can imagine that I'll tell you that this step is okay. This was right on. From there, they solved each factor, set them equal to 0, and got x minus 3 is 0, gives us x equals 3. X plus 2 equals 0 gives us x equals -2. And the question is our final answer x equals 3 and x equals -2? Sure seems like it would be, but why isn't it? Well, the thing is, you need to go back and check your work. So please take a moment to do that, and then we'll compare. I hope that you found when you checked your answers that x equals -2 does not work. It gives you a final statement of -2 equals 2. Because of that, we cannot include it in our final answer. Our final answer is only x equals 3, and x equals -2 then would be extraneous. Thanks for listening. Please finish up and time to go to Math Excel.